Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Mega Man playthrough, and now we are going after the likes of Bomb Man, who is generally the first pick of many players when they're playing Mega Man 1 for either the first time or maybe they look the game up on the internet and find that many players pick Bomb Man for their first pick. Really, I don't blame them because Bomb Man's strategy is very easy to dodge or avoid or exploit in general. But, you know, considering I went Cut Man first, I went to the likes of Elect Man and Iceman and Fireman. I now have Bomb Man's weakness, which is Fireman's weapon, which I believe is called Firestorm. Off the top of my head, I don't have any sort of a wiki up right now. With that said, though, Bomb Man stage is relatively simple. The only thing I don't really get is the background objects. What are those supposed to be? I never really. I think I made the joke in like the brain scratch one, like roboticized Namekian trees for those Dragon Ball Z fans out there. But to this day, I don't get what they are. Does it have something to do with Bomb Man's study of expertise? I mean, Bomb Man is he's a so-called expert in explosives. But what I've got from Mega Man Powered Up is that he's just a pyromaniac, and I don't mean like Fireman sense of pyromaniac. I mean the guy loves explosives. He loves bombs, fireworks, anything that goes boom in general. So I don't know. This is one of those stages where I would generally recommend you just, slow down a bit, observe your surroundings so you get an idea of how to take care of the threat at hand, more proximity Roombas. You got those bullet bills that explode on contact. Be wary of that explosion too, because the explosion actually can hurt Mega Man. And when you got tiny platforms like this, the last thing you need right now is sliding off into those spikes, which are instant kill, by the way. Even when you have invincibility frames, that period of time when Mega Man is blinking after he takes a hit that generally allows him to bypass whatever hit you in the first place. Yep, doesn't work from Mega Man 1. Mega Man will still die upon coming in contact with spikes. And that little green dude right there is Sniper Joes. Sniper Joes are impervious to power pellets when they have that shield up. You have to wait for them to start attacking you before you can get an opening to shoot them back. Their weakness is the Hyper Bomb, a weapon we're not going to get until we beat Bomb Man. So with that said, I would recommend you just, stick to the Mega Buster. Or you can use the Elect Beam to have a wider range and you don't have to put as much effort into it. So let's say we climb down this vertical shaft. And by that I mean jump down. And we're going to take a bit of hit here, but it's faster. I don't really care. Bomb Man's pretty easy to begin with. So let's say we take care of this asshole right now, him and his bouncing bomb with his weakness, which will take him down relatively fast. As you can see, though, he jumps all over the place, which is pretty easy to avoid. What the hell hit me there? Okay. Yeah, relatively easy strategy to exploit, even with the Mega Buster, and booyah, he's gone. And with that, we got 60,000 clear points. Oh, 9,000. 69,000, actually. And it doesn't really mean anything. The points are pointless. This is the only game in the series that has a point system, This is back in the days when that kind of shit mattered. You get a high score, you can brag to your friends saying, I got 1,000,000 points in Mega Man, only for him to retort, well, I got 1,000,005. Fuck you. I was never into that sort of high score craze. I don't even think I've ever... there was ever a time in like arcade machines where you get to enter your initials. No, I can't think of a situation ever where I had the courtesy or the honor of inputting my initials on any sort of high score, and Mega Man's no exception. I've seen the Nintendo Power articles where kids submit their high scores and they always cap out at the absolute max. It's always like, it's 9,999,999. Yeah, you have no life. Well, it's not that hard because you can revisit Robot Master stages, and when you reach the end of the stage, you can refight the Robot Master. I think this is the only game that lets you do that too. And when you redefeat the Robot Master, you get the point bonus again. So if you got the weakness, just keep spamming the likes of Cut Man or Elect Man or Bomb Man, and you'll keep getting those point bonuses. Anyway, our next stage that we're traveling in is Guts Man. The final Robot Master that we're tackling is an expert in the construction field. He loves construction. Can't get enough of it. Look at the robots that he's sending at us. These Hammer Brother-esque robots that throw pickaxes at us. Their weakness, actually, as I am failing to show you here, is Fireman's weapon. Goes right through the shield, and it kills him in one hit. Booyah. Yeah, little food for thought there. That's generally one thing I would recommend you do, though, in any Mega Man game. The moment you get a new weapon, whether you're going into the next stage right after that, or you're revisiting an old stage for whatever reason, experiment with the weapon you just got. Get an idea, an understanding of how it works, and see if it can apply to anything to make your journey easier, or you can just make you question why the hell is this weapon here in the first place, because of just how much it sucks. I don't even know why the hell I'm bothering going after this jumping robot. Just ignore those guys in general. They're not worth the fucking effort. These little power pellets that I'm collecting from these Matools. That's actually the only enemies I remember off the top of my head. Matools, these hard hat wearing things. I don't know what's underneath the hat. I mean, they're all robots, but, you know, power pellets, they give you points. You get a multiplier at the end of each stage, as you saw with the last 5 Robot Masters. But the points don't matter. Anyway, this is Gutsman. Gutsman has 2 strategies. He likes to jump, and when he lands, it causes the room to shake, so I would recommend you be in midair by the time he lands, otherwise you'll get stunned. And he likes to throw rocks at you. And when the rocks hit something, they scatter, and it's just more for you to avoid. But he is weak to the Hyper Bomb. Takes about 3 hits with that son of a bitch. So just hope to God that he doesn't jump away from the exploding bomb, and you should be fine. But all 6 Robot Masters are defeated, and when you do that, Dr. Wily will appear himself in the middle of the stage selection screen. It's time to take on Wily himself. And Wily, located in his fortress, it's a gauntlet. You have to go through 4 stages in a row, with no breaks in between. Your energy refills in between each stage, but your weapon ammo does not. So I would recommend you try your best to be as conservative as possible with weapon ammo, because I got a feeling we're going to be needing as much weapon ammo as we can get. So with these hopping robots, don't attempt to kill them. In fact, get Iceman's weapon out and freeze them. It even works in midair. As soon as I will... Oh, well, I can just wait until he falls and try again, because I think he's just a little too low for Mega Man to safely walk under. Yeah, but, you know, again, don't waste your time trying to kill these things. Just freeze them with Iceman's weapon. Wait for the right... I think that's slow. That should be. Survey says. I'm just... You know, I'm tired of waiting. There we go. Just barely. Yeah, there you go. That's generally what you should be doing. Ah, but our way is blocked. It's time to use Gutsman's super arm. It's generally the only time I'm going to be showing it off, because since I went Cutman first, I didn't have Gutsman's weapon, which is the super arm, which is Cutman's weakness. So that's pretty much the only time I'm going to be showing it off. You can use Iceman's weapon to freeze these fire pillars. I think is the only way you can comfortably bypass this tight-ass corridor comfortably. Or you can just take the pot shots and wait a bit. I would just recommend having good aim with Iceman's Ice Slasher. There's a little energy capsule up there, which I'd never really go after, because I'm guessing they want you to use the magnet beam to reach that son of a bitch. And before you actually enter this room, I would get Thunder Beam weapon out, because those little screw bots will get the jump on you as soon as they appear on the screen. So have Thunder Beam ready to go so you can shoot upwards and get the preemptive on them, assholes. You know, like in your first playthrough, you're most likely going to get blindsided by those guys, because you have no idea that they're going to be there. And generally, I don't like that kind of enemy placement in games. You know, even when the name of the game is for it to be as hard as possible, well, I don't find Mega Man 1 that obnoxiously hard, but, you know, I don't like it when an enemy blindsides you because you didn't know it was there when it's your first playthrough. It's like, yeah, you can avoid the enemies now with your second and third playthroughs, but you didn't know it the first time. And I don't like when games do that. It's cheap. And we have the magnet beam. We have no reason to go on top of those platforms. The same platforms we saw on Iceman stage. We have the magnet beam. Ignore that kind of stuff. And this is the one part in Wily's Fortress where the magnet beam is actually mandatory. And I'm showing off right there that if you keep going up and down between the 2 screens, the weapon ammo will constantly refill. So you never have to worry about wasting all the magnet beam ammo and getting yourself stuck. In this version of the game anyway, Wily Wars version doesn't do that for some reason. But that's for another time. With that said, though, guys, we have reached the end of Wily Fortress number 1 and the boss of this stage. Rather infamous. In case you guys don't know what I'm talking about, it's the Yellow Devil. Oh boy. I hate this asshole. Can't stand the sight of him. He just brings a shiver down my spine for the amount of times I've suffered death trying to legitimately face this asshole. But with that said, ladies and gentlemen, I finally figured it out. I finally found the pattern to take him down with relative ease. It's all in the matter of knowing when to jump and how to jump, how far you should jump. And with that said, that's a phrase I like to say a lot. Yellow Devil's weakness is the Thunder Beam, as I'm demonstrating right now. 1, 2, 3, 4. The fourth jump needs to be a wide jump, because you have two yellow sections that are really close to each other when they go from right to left or left to right. You can't get in between those two blobs with just one jump. So you have to know when to jump at the right time. And it's always the fourth jump when the transferring starts. So after the first jump, after the second jump, after the third jump, it's the fourth jump that you need to have Mega Man jump farther than usual so you can avoid the two blobs that are close to each other. Once you know that, then the fight is actually relatively easy. You just got to keep up that pattern and keep that mindset. And with that said, that's it. Yellow Devil is defeated. No pause trick required, in case you don't know what I'm talking about. There are actually two ways you can pause Mega Man. There's hitting the start button, which brings up the weapons menu, and there's hitting the select button, which freezes the screen. A more traditional pause, you could say. When you use when you use Thunder Beam and pause the game with the select button, the Thunder Beam is still considered active on the screen, even though the game is paused, nothing's moving. What you could do is shoot a Thunder Beam towards Yellow Devil's eye, and when it makes contact, hit the select button, and just keep mashing it over and over again. The Thunder Beam, since it's still considered active, will do multiple hits on Yellow Devil's eye, and it makes the fight an absolute joke. However, it's considered dishonorable beating him that way, and if you care about that sort of thing, that you shouldn't do it in the first place. Personally, I don't care about that sort of shit. Whatever makes it easier for you, that doesn't involve just putting in a game genie. But the second stage of Wily Fortress is another gauntlet in terms of how many enemies you have to face. In fact, we just had a rematch of Cutman there. And it's not over yet, because now we're about to have a rematch with Electman. Again, his weakness is the rolling cutter, so it takes about 3. Just avoid that Thunder Beam, because that son of a bitch really hurts Mega Man. And just do your best to avoid the attacks altogether, because you have to go through this entire stage in one life. Well, no, there are checkpoints in the stage, obviously, but you don't want to lose all your lives. You lose all your lives, you get a game over. You have to do the stage over again. Wily Fortress number 2, though. You don't have to start the Wily Fortress all over again. That would be quite mean if you had to do that. Just really the only thing that you want to see happen in this stage is for enemies to constantly drop weapon ammo or just energy pickups in general, because as you can see from my health, I'm running quite low. I'm below half, and I haven't even reached the boss of this place yet. I'm not just talking about like Cutsman and Electman. There's the actual boss of this stage, and he's a boss I would recommend you have full energy for, just because of how annoying it can be to hit him and to avoid his stuff. So just hope to God these enemies drop weapon energy. Not just weapon energy in general, so you can restore your health. I mean, you have this big thing right here that's easy to get. But that's not energy. That's not health. I need health. Please drop some health. Oh no, that's the opposite. I need you to give me health. Give me health. Nope. Okay, looks like I'm not making it this time, but we can at least get a preview located inside this room that belongs in a game show, really, with all the flashy colors that we're about to witness in this place. Look at that. Something you see right out of Press Your Luck. And he's the ultimate whammy. This is Copy Robot. Copy Robot, when he's not dancing in place like that, will always have the weapon that Mega Man has currently equipped. So if you have Electman's weapon equipped, he's going to have Electman weapon too. Mega Buster, and so on and so forth. With that said, he has two weaknesses. One is the Thunder Beam, which I'm using right now, and the other is Fireman's Firestorm. Stick to the Thunder Beam. It's easier to hit him with. Yeah, he can shoot it back at you, obviously, but if you have him in a lock that I pretty much do right now, he's relatively easy to beat. And in case you run out of Thunder Beam, then, that's the time to switch to the Firestorm. And hopefully he'll be at low enough health that you can hit him with ease. He's a bit of annoying, especially if you don't get him in that corner lock that I just got him in. But just keep going at it. I'm sure you'll win. With that said, though, folks, we will end this playthrough on Friday. I will see you guys then.